Hi, my name is Jill Wilson from the Equality Practice. Thank you for joining me. Today, I am enormously proud to introduce a young man I met only a few years ago. He was recommended to me as a potential motivational speaker for an inclusion conference event we had planned. Meeting this man had a huge impact upon me and indeed on the audience at our event. He is a local businessman and entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, a devoted family man with a partner and small son, and until recently ran his own charity. It is my pleasure to introduce you today, an inspiration to many. Andy Green, welcome to Including Me.
Thank you, and thank you for that introduction. Hi everyone.
Andy, I want to let our audience know that you've worked with us quite a lot over the years. You've been a huge supporter of the Equality Practice. You champion inclusion in many ways. What has motivated you to get involved with us today on the Zoomcast to talk about inclusion?
To be honest, inclusion is quite an interesting word from my perspective, and I almost don't think about it in the sense that everyone's just a person, and to me, everyone has something different to bring to the table. And so the reason that I wanted to get involved is to stress that point and to kind of almost illustrate why inclusion shouldn't be a massive deal. It should just be the norm.
What does inclusion look like for you? How does it work for you, and how does it impact your life when someone's practicing inclusion well?
I mean, so firstly, let's talk about what inclusion well is, and to me, practicing inclusion well means not thinking about being inclusive, doing things naturally because you see someone as an equal, and you just make any adaptations or any changes naturally as you would anyone else. And the difference that makes is massive, because it just means that it's so much easier to get the job done, so to speak. There's so much less friction and tension. For instance, if somebody is making it obvious that they're trying to be inclusive and they're trying too hard, it just becomes really painful, and it puts everyone in a position of embarrassment, because by trying to be inclusive, what they're actually doing is highlighting the differences. So that is the key thing for me between practicing inclusion well and not, is actually how it makes people feel.
Yeah, I mean, you have to start somewhere though. I worked with a lady who was an inclusion officer for further and higher education, and she was looking at the material that they were using to promote their business. And in that material, I mean, she was a black woman, and in that material there was no black people. And one of the things that the marketing department said was, well, we didn't want tokenism. And it's a fine balance, because she said there is that, but you have to start somewhere. and I'm not represented in that marketing material.
See, it's odd, isn't it? Because by saying that they didn't want tokenism, it means that they've thought about that and they've deliberately not included a picture of a black person because they didn't want to offend someone, and for me that's all just wrong, and it comes back to this thing of you're thinking too hard. And it's like, so a good example is I now employ someone who's transgender, and admittedly before she joined the team, I'd not thought about whether I would employ transgender or not. Why would I? That's not a natural thing to think about. But now that I do employ her, again, I know that I employ a transgender person. We're gonna hopefully do some work around promoting that and raising awareness. However, it's still not something that I'm going to go out my way to try and make allowances, because as a person I do that naturally, and that's just my attitude to inclusion.
You gave a great speech at our conference where you talked about your own issues that you manage and what difference means to you. I wonder if you remember that and you want to talk about that at this moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think difference to me is a really powerful thing, and that's the key when we're thinking about inclusion and what that means. It means that actually we're bringing different people to the table, with those different people comes different ideas, different abilities. And the thing is, I guess inclusion is kind of linked to different groups within society, and talking about minority groups. But again, really, it isn't. One of my favourite quotes of all time is that everyone's different, and that's the one thing that makes us the same. And it's true. Even if I was an able-bodied woman, for instance, I would still be completely different from you, and therefore there would still be a matter of inclusion to make sure both of us are treated the same way, and that's all that it really means. So going back to the differences, for instance, due to my disability, everyday tasks I can sometimes find a challenge, and I find different ways to overcome those challenges. And because of that, because of my ability to find ways to overcome challenges I face, I bring that skill to the table, and I bring problem solving to the table. You bring a completely different set of skills to the table, and that's because of your core, your religion, your age, your gender. It's because you're different, you've had a different life, and to me, that needs to be celebrated, acknowledged, and leveraged, rather than thought of as something different, because different is good. It's amazing. The more difference, in my opinion, the better. And this is what I would challenge organisations to think about, is actually, when you think about inclusion, think about how many different people you can bring to the table and what that will do to your organisation and even your circle of friends and who you mix with, because I guarantee you the more different people you work with, the better the person you will become, whether that's personally or in your career. It's exactly the same. It's about diversity and embracing the fact that everyone's different. That is absolutely key, and I can't stress that enough.
Well, I think you did a really good job of that. That was brilliant, Andy. All I can say on that note, because I think you've summed up what inclusion and difference is really well. Thank you so much for being a guest on Including Me. And most definitely, I'm going to ask you back because you've got a lot to say.
Yes, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but no, my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andy.